We live in a world that constantly tells us we're behind. Behind on success, behind on experiences, behind on becoming something more than we already are. We're encouraged to chase the next goal, the next opportunity, the next upgrade of ourselves. And in this endless pursuit, we often forget to ask a much simpler, quieter question. Why? Why are we chasing all of it? Why do we feel like slowing down is failure, or that peace is laziness, or that doing less is somehow less meaningful? In trying to experience everything, maybe we're actually experiencing nothing very deeply. There's a kind of invisible pressure that's built into modern life to always be busy, to always be producing, to always be doing. You can see it in the way we structure our days, back-to-back tasks, overscheduled calendars, a constant stream of notifications telling us that something urgent is happening somewhere. We often say we're living life to the fullest, but in reality, many of us are just trying to keep up with a pace that we didn't choose, and that we don't even enjoy. Our culture romanticizes the high achiever, the always on the move, the one who's seen everything, done everything, and is now giving a TED talk about it. Meanwhile, the quiet life, the one that values stillness, attention, inner fulfillment, is rarely celebrated. Instead, it's seen as boring, unambitious, ordinary. But maybe what we call ordinary is actually a form of mastery that we've forgotten how to see. There's a hidden strength in those who choose slowness in a world addicted to speed. It takes immense discipline to not be swept up by the noise, to live in a way that is not for display, but for depth. It's easy to think that a good life is one that's filled with activity. But what if it's actually one that's filled with clarity? Clarity about what matters, clarity about who you are, clarity about what you want your days and your years to feel like. There's a quote by the philosopher Blaise Pascal that says, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." It's almost unsettling how true that feels. We've come to believe that stillness is wasted time, when in fact, it might be the very place where life actually begins to make sense. Throughout history, many of the wisest thinkers, writers, and spiritual leaders lived relatively quiet lives. Not because they lacked ambition, but because they had refined it, aiming not for attention, but for understanding. They weren't disengaged from the world, they were deeply in touch with it, just in a different way. Instead of chasing validation, they sought truth. Instead of collecting experiences, they cultivated insight. One modern challenge is that we're so deeply conditioned to think in terms of outcomes that we forget about orientation. We ask, what did I accomplish today? Instead of, was I present for today? We ask, what's next? Instead of, what's enough? Success is a word we throw around casually, but rarely do we stop to define it for ourselves. And because of that, we often end up borrowing someone else's definition, someone else's checklist, someone else's version of the good life. But a good life, in the end, can't be copied. It has to be created. What if you were successful already but just didn't notice because you were looking in the wrong direction? What if success was not becoming someone else, but finally becoming more fully yourself? What if a good life isn't made of grand accomplishments, but of quiet moments when you feel at peace with how you're living? There's a kind of mental poverty that arises when we fill our lives with things we don't value. Every yes to something unimportant is a quiet no to something essential. And over time, those silent no's start to add up until you look back and realize that you've been spending your life rather than truly living it. We protect our money with passwords, we protect our homes with locks, but our time, we give it away for free, every day. Now let's be honest, not everyone has the luxury to live exactly as they want. Many people face real constraints, financial, emotional, or otherwise, that limit their choices. But even within those limits, there are still moments where we get to choose where we put our attention, to choose how we treat people, to choose what kind of person we become. In those choices, no matter how small, our philosophy lives. There's no shame in a quiet life. There's no failure in choosing less, if that less means more meaning. And there's no need to justify a simple life if it feels whole to you. We don't owe the world a performance. We owe it our presence. At the core of all philosophical inquiry is one timeless question: what is the good life? And the answer isn't a formula. It's a relationship between your values and your actions, When those two things align, life becomes real, even if it's small, even if no one else sees it. So maybe you don't need to do more. Maybe you just need to go deeper. Maybe the next chapter of your life doesn't need to be louder, just more intentional. Maybe the answer isn't out there in the next big thing or the next big goal. Maybe it's already here, in your breath, in your silence, in your ability to listen to what your life has been trying to tell you when the world isn't shouting over it. In the words of Japanese Zen master Ryokan, "Too lazy to be ambitious, I let the world take care of itself. 10 days worth of rice in my bag, a bundle of twigs by the fireplace." Why talk about illusion and reality? Flowers fall when we love them. Weeds grow when we hate them. He reminds us that life doesn't need to be conquered. It needs to be witnessed. So here's the real question. Are you living your life, or are you simply maintaining it? Are you creating something meaningful, or are you just surviving long enough to start again tomorrow? It's okay to rest. It's okay to step back. It's okay to want less and feel more. Because in the end, life isn't about impressing anyone. It's about remembering who you are and making space to be that person while you still have time. If this video made you pause, even for a moment, I hope you'll stick around. Subscribe to Thinxile and join a growing space for deep thinkers, slow living, and honest exploration of life's hardest questions. Like the video, drop a comment about what this brought up for you, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that it's okay to live differently. Until next time, stay curious, stay conscious,